Seraphian swept the small branch around anyway, and with a barely audible clap, the spider disappeared like the first, but this time there was no wave of excitement or relieved hugs. Isabel and the rest of the group remained in suspended animation for a moment longer before the housekeeper collapsed forward onto her knees. Still no one else moved, but even despite the thickness of her hair, Seraphian could see the raised red welt marking the deadly arachnid's bite. "Mom!" Eva and Maria cried out in unison. Both girls dropped to their knees, one at either side of their beloved mother. They began to cry, and Isabel clutched them tightly. Mariam went to Seraphian and took his hand, causing him to flinch as if he were being woken out of a nightmare. "Varek, there must be something we can do." His mind flashed back to Aram and his bloated, swollen body. "Girls, give me a moment." Just by his tone, most people, the sensible ones anyway, knew not to argue with him. The girls stood, immediately wrapping their arms around each other in a reassuring sisterly embrace. Seraphian crouched down and lifted Isabel's sad face to look at him. When he spoke, it was in a whisper. "You want Maria and Eva to remember you like this. Don't let them watch what happens. Say your goodbyes, and I will end this for you quickly." The housekeeper's eyes bulged as the gravity of his words sunk in. He was right. She would end up bloated, ugly and disfigured. She did not want anyone to see her like that, let alone her beloved children. Her hand began to feel tight, and she brought it up in front of her face as the skin got redder and redder. "Eva, Maria, I need you to listen to me." Seraphian stood to give them privacy and walked over to Hake. "Listen to me. I need you to take the group away in that direction. I don't want these girls to see or hear this. Do you understand?"
"Mom! No! Mom, no! Mama, no!"
The cries of the two girls in response to Isabel's whispered request diverted Hake's attention, but Seraphian pulled his nephew back around to face him. "I said, do you understand me?" Hake twitched, and Seraphian noticed the wound on the side of his head where Lilith had struck him. "God, I wish she were here instead." "Yes, Papa." "Then go." Seraphian turned to see Anoush with her arm wrapped tightly around Yana. Both sets of eyes were fixed on him in a hateful glare. "Help the girls," he ordered, and as much as Anoush wanted to say something, she let out a pent-up breath and joined Mariam in coaxing the twins away from their mother. There were pained exchanges and declarations of undying love and crying, lots and lots of crying, before everything fell silent but for Isabel's quiet sobs. She had not moved from the spot on which she fell, and as Seraphian crouched down once more, he could see that her beautiful olive complexion was beginning to turn red and blotchy. Her hands had swelled and her wrists and arms were beginning to do the same.
"Look after Eva, Maria. Please."
It had only been a few minutes, but her songful voice had become raspy. "I promise you, when we get out of here they will have nothing to worry about. The best colleges, the best care. You have my word." She stared at him through her tears, and regardless of the pain, a grateful smile formed on her face.
"You were always so good to us, so good to me."
She reached out her hand and Seraphian took it, placing his other hand over the top.
"It feels like my blood is starting to boil in my veins."
Seraphian nodded. "I will make this quick." He stood and walked around the back of her, then knelt down once more. He closed his arm around her neck and brought his mouth up close to her ear. "This will be over soon. Close your eyes."
"Can we say the Lord's Prayer?"
"Of course. Our Father." In one lightning-fast movement, Seraphian grabbed Isabel's chin and the back of her head and twisted. There was a loud crack, and her warm body slumped into his arms. He let out a long, deep sigh, then gently laid her body down on the ground. He regarded her sadly for a brief moment before more high-pitched screams jolted him from his final goodbye.